What is going on, my homies? I am a victim. Yeah, so for many years, I threw the wrong crankbait this time of year. So in this video, I'm going to try to give you guys some insights, hopefully, as to what crankbait you want to pick out, because winter, especially this early winter and then the dead of winter, probably the next month, 2 months, is absolute prime time for not only hard baits, but crankbaits specifically. They create a reaction. They fish a lot of these hard as well as steep cover objects, structures that we have, and that's what tends to hold fish. The grass dies, grass is gone, we got wood, we got rock, we got gravel, stuff along those lines, and that's what those fish tend to kind of cling to, and a crankbait's a great tool to fish through it. So in this video, I'm going to show you a few crankbaits that you might be using, you might not be using, but are absolutely killer for this December, January kind of window. And I got a new crankbait setup, and it's absolutely killer. I love this thing. So hit that like and subscribe button. Let's talk about winter cranking. So first things first, I got my little baggie of naughty right here. I always tell you guys this, but I think a lot of you guys don't listen to me. If there's one thing you take away from this video, put a clip on your crankbait. These are little owner welded crankbait clips. Don't use them on braid. Don't use them for every bait that you fish. But if you are throwing a crankbait or a topwater, use it. Because one thing that I do find this time of year is switching baits, especially crankbaits, is absolutely key. And dude, it's cold. Your fingers are brittle, dude. It's really difficult to tie knots. These little clips are 100% reliable. If you lose a fish, I want you to email me, text me, whatever, and be like, bro, you owe me a crankbait. But you won't, because they're awesome. I've been using them for years. I caught 49 pounds on them. I caught multiple bags over 40 using them with a super stout rod, like a 10XD rod. They're super reliable. They make your life easier. So grab a crankbait clip. It'll save you knots, save you time, and save your fingers. The new rod that I got, and this thing is freaking badass. You guys know that when I'm fishing a lipless, I run a 7.3 medium Halo XD3. Badass rod. That softer tip is perfect for ripping that trap with a little bit of grass that might be left, or just kind of creating that reaction strike, that yo-yoing that we do with a lipless. It's great because I run 12-pound test, so it's a little softer rod. It's also a little bit longer. That 7.3, I make bomb casts, dude. I can launch that thing out there. It's not a good crankbait rod though, like a build crankbait rod. Halo came out with this, and this is actually one of the crankbaits we're going to talk about, but this is an XD3 as well. It's actually a 7.3 medium, just like my trap rod, but the big trick with this thing is it's a crankbait specific rod, and that means it has more of a moderate action. Moderate meaning it bends a lot more, like down to the base of the rod. It has a lot more moderate action, but it is a composite rod, so I can make really accurate casts. You know, you can feel a lot more of the bottom. You feel those bites. You feel the fish load up on it. It's a sick rod, and it's a great price point. It's like $100, dude. So I'll put a link to it down in the description box. If you guys are interested in kind of outfitting your crankbait setup, I'd highly recommend this. It's a perfect price point rod, and it does exactly what you need. I've also thrown jerkbaits on it. It's a great jerkbait rod if you like a little longer rod for like suspending jerkbaits, which is also a prime time deal this time of year. This is that SLX, the 150, the one with the chip in it though. This thing is badass for crankbait fishing. The reason being is it has a little chip that engages the brake, and it's perfect for making, we all make these little roll casts, you know, as we're going down the bank, around docks, around wood, around rock. So you need to really place this crankbait accurately. And it's hard sometimes because they're light, they're tough to throw, the wind might be blowing, it's winter. This thing, I am cheap. And if you guys know the channel, you know how cheap I am. This thing is worth every single dollar, dude. So let's delve into some of these crankbaits. So the one thing that I find that I did wrong when I first got up here is a lot of times I was throwing a square bill that was meant more for spring. And what I mean by that is that it would have like a wider body. So something along these lines. So a really round, you know, square bill, which is absolutely awesome if you have dirtier water. It's, you know, early spring, the fish are shallow, they like that wider wobble, that vibration, it calls them up. And there's one real key factor that I look at when selecting crankbaits, what they look like down the body, and that's that profile. You can see this is actually the Monster Bass Flatline. This is one of the ones that I've been throwing. This is a pretty shallow running crankbait, maybe like 2 to 4 or so. But what it is that flat side. You know, we talk about throwing a lipless this time of year, absolutely killer. That tight vibration and that lack of wide wobble. One thing that I do not want this time of year is a wide wobble, and the best way to achieve that is a flat side crankbait, just like that. There's a couple other than this flatline that I'd highly recommend. One of the most, I guess, well-known and one of the ones that really made a splash in the past couple of years. I have caught magnums on it. I've caught a lot of fish on it. There's multiple different sizes, and there's a new tungsten one that has like a tungsten 2-tap, and that is the Fritz side. David Fritz, if you guys don't know, he's a little more old school. He's the king of crankbaits. He helped to design this with Berkeley. This also is a very flat crankbait. Warning, it kind of casts a little crappy, even though it does have that little like centered weight in it, but it's one of those things that you have to suffer through. It is one of the thinnest crankbaits that's out there that's like this. It's a little wonky, it doesn't burn very well, but on a steady kind of slow rolled retrieve, it really wobbles perfectly, dude. The other one, and this one is also an absolute classic, it's not strictly what you define as a flat side crankbait. However, it does have that profile, and that's a DT6 or a DT8. I really like that DT8. I have it in multiple colors, and all of these baits I have in multiple colors. Usually what I try to do is have something in a crawfish pattern. This is like a green crawfish. I'll have something in red, like these two right here, you know, like a red or a red orange. Also could be defined as crawfish, but a lot of times I'm using that for dirty water. The other color that I'm really liking is a lot of these squirbills and these shallow runners are coming in what like is a mustard or a chartreuse. It's like a yellow chartreuse kind of shad pattern, maybe with a little white dot on it. Absolutely killer. And then of course, you know, you need to have like a shad pattern, like a sexy shad. This is the flatline in, I want to say it's like broken sexy or cracked sexy, something like that. Has a little bit of chartreuse and white. And then in the DT6s and the DT8s, there's quite a few color offerings, and they offer one of my absolute favorites, which is green gizzard shad. You know, it has that sort of emerald, sort of iridescent back, perfect shad pattern. The other thing that you can do is we're actually suffering from, I'm going to call it clear water. We have very clear water right now. Transparent colors where that plastic isn't sprayed all the way through, like ghost shad style baits, things along those lines. Absolutely killer. I got two more for you, and one thing that you actually need to take into account with which ones that you're picking, a lot of these crankbaits have different bills. You'll see this one's squared off a lot more, this one's a little more rounded. My general rule is with the rounded style crankbaits, they're very good in grass. They're good around wood and rock, but they also offer that added benefit to being very good around grass. For some reason, that cupped style bill really does a great job when you're ripping it off of grass, kind of slow reeling it and then popping it. Once again, going back to a Rapala, this is the Haute de Faux. I want to say it's like his Garage Slim. Dives about like, I don't know, 2 to 5, 2 to 6. Once again, offers that flat side body. This one does have the rounded lip. The last bait that I'm going to talk to you about, and this is for you guys who like to spend some money, but let me tell you, it started this whole flat side thing, and it is an absolute killer. It's the Megabass Sonic side. This is probably the most expensive crankbait that I own. I hate the fact that I have to throw it around wood and rock, but I love the fact that it catches giants, dude. I caught like a 6.5 on Chickamauga on this, literally fishing behind my buddy Caleb and my buddy Chris, like in 2 feet of water, dude, bumping it off a rock. They were throwing the exact same style baits, crankbaits, but I was throwing this and I cleaned up after them, dude. There's something about this Sonic side. It runs really well through rock. It has that chip or that computer chipboard kind of bill to it. It runs great through rock, decent through wood, and there's something about that vibration. I don't know if it has like a different rattle style in it, but dude, it absolutely kills them. But the only thing that you need to be careful of is the price point, and then this bait does suffer from cracking sometimes when you do have moisture in your box. So you got to be very careful how you store it because it can crack along the seam right there. Absolutely killer bait. If you're willing to spend some money, definitely they do not see it nearly as much because of the price point on the bait. Oh, hey, Bob. Yeah, we're wrapping up our video. We're going to go fishing. Thanks, dude. But that's kind of my wrap. The biggest key, though, is try some of these flat sides. The flat-sided crankbait's a lot like a lipless. Really, they catch more fish this time of year. If you have bitter cold, if you have really clear water, high pressure conditions, getting away from your classic rounded kind of bubble-like square bill and going with that flat side, that tighter vibration, sometimes they don't even feel like they're wobbling when you're reeling them. You have to look at your rod tip just to see if your tip's kind of shaking. It's such a soft vibration, but it really does help in differentiating your presentation and getting some more bites this time of year when you got that cold, clear water, dude, and these fish are not in the greatest of mood, but you still need them to react to some kind of hard bait. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll put links to all the baits that we talked about down in the description box, and definitely hit that like and subscribe button for me. Thank you guys for all the support. We'll see you back out on the water, talking fishing, hanging out with the Boxster.